Hey folks, welcome back to Elemental Cartomancy. Going to do a wee walkthrough of the second edition, the mass market edition of the Bonestone and Earthflesh Tarot, the Reawakening. So creator Avalon and artist Tourian. Blue Angel, so we got a beautiful, nice, sturdy two-part box that opens like that. On the back it says, "Welcome to the world of Bonestone and Earthflesh, where myth and mysticism intertwine." Just hold that closer so you can read it. This tarot deck is a journey through sacred landscapes and enduring narratives where the hero, the villain, the lover, and the seer all leave their mark. Each card carries the voice of land spirits, protective deities, and the wisdom of those who came before. Bonestone and Earthflesh Tarot, the Reawakening, is rooted in the primal and the eternal. This new edition of the international bestseller by Avalon and Tourian is an invitation to explore, remember, and weave your own path of self-discovery. It is dedicated to the mystics, dreamers, and the seekers who trust in the transformative power of divination to reveal their inner temple. So we've got some beautiful artwork on the back here. This all feels raised and I don't know if embossed is the right word. And you can see we've got the artwork. I think that's the full on the front. So yeah, really, really beautiful, nicely done. The only other thing to point out, I guess, is, well, a couple of things. You've got one of these kind of a cardboard inserts for the cards to sit in. And then on the inside it says, "This is a world between worlds, a place of discovery, redemption, damnation, and self-realization. How will you weave your story?" So, really beautifully done. The book is a nice, detailed, chunky book. It's not too big, but it's not short on information. So, like you can see, for the Justice card, the Warrior, and the Veiled one, we're getting a kind of a brief excerpt right into what it means in a reading, and we've got three, like a good page's worth, more than a page's worth of information. Then reversed, again, a good page's worth of information, and then the narrative where it tells you about the card, some information on correspondences, and then some suggestions for journal prompts. So you really are getting loads and loads. And of course, the colour representation of the card. For the minors, you're getting just as much information. So, absolutely beautiful book. Let's see, what does it have by way of... So we've got some information here on Avalon, on Anna, which is nice. This is obviously some other decks that Blue Angel publish. I'm looking to see whether we've got information on spreads. Oh yeah, we've got some spread information here, which is nice. Look at that. Path of Primordial Insight spread. So a few spreads, some information on how to use the deck as well. So it's not very often that I'll pick up an accompanying book and read it cover to cover, but this is one that I may well actually do that with. Either that, or when I'm working with the deck, I might work with the book as well, because I want to learn about, so for each of the cards, you can see we've got the title, but we've also got a correspondence, a kind of a, so for the Ace of Wands, we'll get the Serpent Fire. And the book explains, or I'm assuming it explains each of the correspondences. And I do want to learn that for this deck. It's not something I'll do with every deck, but For this one, I've already had the chance to work with this a wee bit. I've used it for myself for an ancestor reading. I've used it for myself just for your kind of a run-of-the-mill readings. I've used it to film the week ahead reading for this current week, actually. And I've also used it for other people. I used it at a market on Halloween evening, Samhain. So this is a powerful deck. It's a really good deck. And I can, I've already kind of tried and tested that. So it's one that I really want to get to know inside and out, if that makes sense. So anyway, that's the book, the box. Let's talk about the cards. So these are the backs, which is kind of like the quill from the Ace of Swords is repeated there. So it would be reversible because it's because there's two of them, which is, if that's important to you. It's beautiful, soft, waxy, matte cardstock, kind of like the mass market edition of the Wild Unknown. So it's lovely. It feels really soft and smooth. It shuffles really, really nicely. It's quite a thick deck, so I was worried that it wasn't going to riffle shuffle very nicely, but it riffle shuffles an absolute dream. And size-wise, I'm pretty sure we are about the same as, we're about the same size as a standard US Games, so overhands really nicely. Before I kind of start flipping through it, I just wanted to quickly show you all the aces lined up because they're really cool. So for the Ace of Wands, we've got this Ouroboros. The quill for the Ace of Swords, as we've already seen. We've got the beautiful Blood Moon for the Ace of Cups. And this skull for the Ace of Pentacles. How beautiful does that look? So, yeah, anyway, let's, without further ado, have a look through the deck. So the first card I've got on top here is the Bruja, or Brusha, I think it might be pronounced. Let me just zoom in for you here. Let's see. Just going to try and... that looks about right. Okay, so yeah, the Brusha, or Bruja, which means witch. This is this is an extra card. I don't read with extra cards in the deck, so this one will be staying in the box for me. But it is really stunning. It was made as a gift to Avalon by her friends who were kind of close to her during the process of making this deck. So it was designed by them. It was obviously painted by the artist Anna. But it's stunning. But unfortunately, I don't do extra cards, so that's going to go back in the box. So we're starting off with our fool then. Beautiful fool, walking into the tree, walking into this kind of a portal to an unknown land. The Magician, still giving Gandalf vibes, but doesn't quite resemble Ian McKellen as much as what the indie one did. But still love how he's got all the elements in the palm of his hand. It's really stunning. High Priestess, I love how like in front of her is all blank. All of the magic is going on inside her. Everything that we see happening, all of the power of the card is inside the High Priestess. Beautiful Empress, very connected to the earth, and actually very similar to one of the soul cards. I use the soul cards when I'm reading. And yeah, this is a similar image to one of the images on the soul cards. Stunning. The Emperor, we've actually got two figures here. which is interesting. Borgild and Wraith. So I would assume that that's the Wraith and that's Borgild, but I'm not sure. The Hierophant is the grandmother. Beautiful Hierophant card. How aged she is. How wise, and the owl symbolising wisdom. The Lovers. Sky and Air. Chariot. Strength card. Feels very temperance-y to me. Hermit card. So just a smidge more for you. And the Wheel of Fortune with the Weavers. So like the 3 fates. Warrior and the Veiled One for justice. And then we have Odin as the Hanged Man. Beautiful, beautiful depiction of Odin. This came up when I was reading for a client on Friday, and she loved this image as well. Death. Beautiful temperance. I actually yesterday just purchased myself a new hourglass because I use an hourglass to keep on track with when I'm reading for others. When I'm reading at markets, I need to kind of make sure that I'm keeping on time. Otherwise, you end up running over into someone else's slot. So I use an hourglass for that. And I just bought a new beautiful hourglass. But anyway, sorry, I digress. This is stunning. I love how we've got like the water mixing with sand. Devil, pretty ruthless. Standing on a mountain of skulls. And the tower has been blasted apart. And this is a different image than what was in the indie, I know that much. Beautiful star card. Believe this was inspired by Chase, one of Avalon's friends at the time when she was making this, that I'd mentioned. Her moon card. Sun. Judgment. She who is unnamed. And then the world, so we see the fool coming back out of the tree, and same tree that we see in that tower card being blasted apart. A Race of Wands, seen that. 2 of Wands, 3, gaining some perspective. The wands all seem to have these kind of a fiery orangey skies, reddy orangey skies. 4, when I first saw this, I thought it reminded me of a hairdresser. The 5 of Wands, 6, 7. So she has that high ground. 8 wild horses. 9. And the 10, taking on that burden. Okay, so our page, beautiful tiger. Knight, Hephaestus, Greek god of iron, fire, weapons, I think. Marie Laveau for a beautiful queen. I love the rainbow colours in the head wrap. She's wearing the ace around her neck. Really nice touch. And our beautiful king, the sun god Ra. Very handsome. Ace of Swords, the quill, Tale of the Traveller for the 2. Looks like she's scrying to find her next path. Three of Swords, pretty brutal. 4, taking a wee rest. Wee skinny dip. 5 of Swords. Peanut. I still need to look up what peanut is. Odessa for the 6. Beautiful 6 of Swords on that journey. 7. Something dodgy going on. The 8. Beautiful 9 of Swords. The 10. Page is Merlin. Athena is our knight. Queen. Beautiful. And king. And we have our beautiful blood moon for our Ace of Cups. 2. Beautiful but really tragic and emotive 5 of Cups, which is exactly how the 5 of Cups should be. 6. 7, the charlatan. 8. 9. And the 10. I said this when I kind of unboxed this when I was live, but this, just because there is 1 cup, feels more Ace of Cups to me. Funnily enough, so let's see, we've got the moon card. Is this one right? And then there's the Ace of Cups. So for me, I don't know, I feel like if these weren't labelled, there'd be part of me that would be tempted to use this as the Ace. This is the 10 of Cups, because it is very, very watery and has that kind of a water all around. And then this is the moon, because the moon is like the central, like that powerful blood moon is right there. And I know there's lots of water here too, but yeah, I think if they were unlabelled, then it would be something I'd be tempted to do. But they're not, so I can't. So, and there's, I'm not. There's nothing wrong with this as the 10, and there's nothing wrong with this the moon and this the Ace. I'm just, I'm just toying with the images, and I don't know. What do you think? Does anybody else think something similar, or is it just a me thing? Oh no, everyone's out of order, but never mind. Okay, so 10, And then Page of Cups. And Knight. Beautiful Queen. And Poseidon as the King. And then our final suit, we've got the Ace, which we've seen. The 2 is the Spider. 3, Sacred Stone. Beautiful 4 of Pentacles, the Lady of Jewels. 5, Storm-Swept Family. Feed the Birds for the 6. Beautiful act of generosity and kindness. 7. 8, we've got the Sacred Smith. The 9, Lady of Flowers. The 10, Community. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Dionysus for the Page. Knight. Baba Yaga. Queen. And then finally the Green Man as the King of Pentacles. So, absolutely stunning, really powerful deck. Funny thing, obviously I'd seen the Bonestone years, I've seen it years ago. I seen it when it first came out. And I love Tourian's art. I always thought it was a really beautiful deck, but I was never really sure whether it was a deck that I would use, I would get a lot of use out of. I don't even know why. Just sometimes you look at a deck and you think that I know that's a beautiful deck, but I'm not sure how practical it would be for me. But I've been proven wrong. Definitely, one of my, I can see that's been one of my most used decks in my practice, both for myself and for reading for others. So yeah, let's zoom out a bit. We'll do a bit of shuffling. I'll show you that beautiful riffle shuffle that I was talking about. So yeah, because it's a chunky deck, I thought it might be quite difficult and stiff, but it's not. It bends really easily and goes back into place really easily. And as you can see, it's beautiful bridge on it. I'll pull some cards just so that you can see the deck in action. Although, as I say, I used it for this current week commencing the 3rd of November 2025. This week's week ahead reading, I'll also used it in my Thursday. So that would have been the 30th of November. No, 30th of October, I beg your pardon. Live. So if you wanted to see it in more, in more detail in action, then have a look there. But let's just pull some cards and do a little sample reading. Oh dearie me, 3 really unpleasant cards. So 5 of Pentacles, 10 of Wands, and the Tower. Sometimes life is going to throw stuff at us that's really difficult, and sometimes there is not an easy solution. The only way to get past it is through it. 5, we're going through some difficulties. It might be financial, we might be going through a wee bit of hardship, or it might just be a resource thing. We basically can't get our hands on everything that we need. There's this kind of a feeling of needing something that we don't have or we can't get our hands on. And there's no nice, here's what you do, here's the solution to it. It feels like, we almost just need to power through. It is temporary, like all things. Although the Tower being the outcome makes me think that it's culminating in something that might not be particularly pleasant. The tower's always a blessing in the long run, but it's very rarely a blessing at the time. Usually we feel really overwhelmed, and I suppose that's just the feeling all throughout this, isn't it? Is overwhelm. I think as well, just because we're seeing this assistance being provided here, is help others where you can, you know. There will be other people weathering the same storm, and where you can, offer them assistance. It feels like things are coming apart, things are tough, but if you can help other people, if you can power through, then the only way through it is through it, essentially. So sorry, that wasn't such a nice reading. That wasn't very pleasant, and yeah, but that's how the cards fell. So yeah, has anyone else got this, whether it's the indie or the mass market? What are your thoughts? Do you enjoy using it? Do you have both? In which case, which one do you prefer? Do you find that they read differently? Yeah, let me know what your thoughts are. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you've enjoyed this. Take care, and I'll see you all later. Bye.